You hit $1 million on a Tuesday. Not a dramatic Tuesday. There is no champagne in the fridge because you bought groceries on Sunday and champagne wasn't on the list. You are sitting on the same couch you bought used 4 years ago. The cushion on the left has a slight dip from where you always sit. You are wearing a t-shirt with a small hole near the collar that you keep meaning to throw out and never do. You refresh the brokerage app. $1,412. You refresh it again because part of you still doesn't trust numbers on screens. $1,418. The market is moving. You are a millionaire for the second time in 11 seconds. You will be one again every time the market opens for as long as you don't do anything stupid. You are 28 years old, and nobody in your life knows. You think about texting somebody. You open the conversation with your best friend. You look at the cursor blinking for a long time. You close it. You open your mom's thread. You type mom and then you delete it. You open your group chat with the friends from college. They are arguing about a restaurant. You don't say anything. Here is the thing nobody tells you about the first million. The number arrives, but the announcement doesn't. There is no ceremony built into the financial system for crossing a threshold like this. The bank does not call. Your brokerage does not send a confetti animation. The IRS does not send a card. The number just rolls over the way every other number rolls over on a normal day in a normal week, while you are wearing a shirt with a hole in it. The reason you can't tell anyone is more complicated than you thought it would be. You have been imagining this moment since you were 22, when you read your first finance book and ran the compounding math and saw that it was possible. You imagined it would feel like an arrival, something to hand someone. Instead, the moment you have it, you understand immediately that handing it to anyone would change what it is. You think about your best friend. He is 28 too. He has $4,000 in a savings account and a car loan with $11,200 left on it. He has been there for every version of you. The version that couldn't pay for the cab. The version that slept on his couch for 6 weeks after the breakup. The version that cried in his passenger seat in 2021 when you thought you would never figure any of this out. If you tell him, the math of the friendship changes. Not because he would resent you. He wouldn't. He would be genuinely happy. He would tell you that's amazing, that he always knew, that you deserve it. And then for the next 11 years, every time the check comes, there will be a fraction of a second where he calculates whether you should pay. There will be a slight hesitation when he tells you about a financial problem because he will be doing the silent math of whether telling you sounds like asking. He will not mean to do this. It will happen anyway. The number, once spoken, becomes a third person in the room. You think about your mother. She raised you on $52,000 a year for most of your childhood. She still clips coupons. She drives a 2014 Camry with 140,000 miles on it that she refuses to replace because it still runs. If you tell her, she will not understand it the way you understand it. She will understand it as a thing to be careful with, a thing that could be lost, a thing that might attract the wrong kind of attention. She will start to worry about you in a new way that you cannot undo. She will mention it to her sister. Her sister will mention it to a cousin. The cousin will mention it to someone you haven't seen in 14 years. The number, once spoken, leaves the room. You think about telling the woman you've been seeing for 9 months. You imagine her face. You imagine what it would mean. You imagine her trying to act normal afterward, and you trying to act normal afterward, and both of you knowing that the easy thing between you has a hairline crack in it now that wasn't there before. You don't tell her. So you sit on the couch with a dip in the left cushion, and you look at the number, and you understand for the first time that wealth is structurally lonely. Not emotionally, structurally. The architecture of it requires a kind of solitude that nobody mentions in the books. The books talk about asset allocation and tax efficiency. They do not talk about the Tuesday when the number rolls over and you cannot tell anyone in your life what just happened. You think about how you got here. It was not a single thing. There was no inheritance. There was no startup exit. There was a $34,000 salary at 22 that became $51,000 at 24 and $78,000 at 26 and $134,000 at 28. And inside each of those salaries was a contribution rate that did not move when the salary did. You set the contribution rate at 23, and you never touched it again. Every raise went into the account. Every bonus went into the account. The lifestyle stayed roughly the same. The couch did not change. The car did not change. The apartment got slightly bigger once. That was it. You ran the calculator at 23. $1,200 a month invested at a 9% average return becomes $86,000 in 5 years, becomes $214,000 in 10, becomes $612,000 in 15. You did not believe the calculator. You did it anyway. You did it because you had nothing else to bet on, and the math seemed to be telling the truth. The contributions did 38% of the work. The market did the rest. That's the part that feels strange to say out loud. You did not earn $1 million. You earned $380,000 and let it sit somewhere quiet for 6 years while the rest grew. The work was not in the earning. The work was in the not touching. The work was in the Tuesday in 2022 when the account dropped 23% in 4 months and you did not move. The work was in the Friday in 2023 when a friend made $40,000 on a meme stock in 3 weeks and you did not move. The work was in the 1,000 small Tuesdays when the easy thing would have been to spend $400 on something you did not need and you did not spend it. And nobody saw you not spend it, and nobody clapped. That's the part that doesn't translate. The thing you did to get here was the absence of action 1,000 times in a row. There is no story in that. There is no moment to point to. You cannot say, I built this, the way someone who built a company can say it, because you didn't build it. You let it build itself by getting out of its way. You go to dinner that night with 2 friends. You ordered an appetizer you actually wanted instead of the cheapest one. That is the only visible difference between this Tuesday and last Tuesday. The bill comes to $87. You split it 3 ways. You paid $29. You think about how 4 years ago, $29 would have made you anxious for the rest of the week. Now it is just $29. The relationship between you and small numbers has changed in a way that nobody at the table can see. One of them is talking about a raise he just got, $6,000 a year more. He is excited. He is calculating what it means for his vacation budget. You are nodding and asking the right questions. You are not thinking about your number. You are thinking about how a $6,000 raise, invested instead of spent, becomes $94,000 in 20 years at 9%. You are thinking about how he will not invest it. You are thinking about how you know this without him telling you, because you have known him for 10 years and you have watched the pattern. You don't say anything. There's nothing to say. He did not ask. Unsolicited financial advice from a friend with a number he doesn't know about is not a gift. It is a confession with a teaching wrapped around it. So you ask him about the vacation instead. You mean it. You want him to have the vacation. You also know, sitting across from him in a restaurant that costs $87 for 3 appetizers, that the gap between you is not going to narrow. It is going to widen for the rest of your lives, and he is not going to know it is happening, and you are not going to tell him. This is the part the books don't prepare you for. The number is not the prize. The prize is what the number allows you to stop doing. You stop checking your account before buying coffee. You stop running the math on a flight to your sister's wedding. You stop opening the bill app with a held breath. The pressure that you carried for a decade lifts so quietly that you don't notice it leaving. You only notice it gone 3 weeks later in a parking lot when someone scratches your car and you realize you don't feel the panic you used to feel. You feel inconvenience instead. Inconvenience is what the number bought you, not joy, not freedom. Inconvenience where there used to be fear. You think about what comes next. The second million takes less time than the first. The math is in your favor now. $1 million at 9% adds $90,000 a year without a single contribution. You are 28. If you add nothing, you have $2,580,000 by 39, $5,150,000 by 47, $9,200,000 by 53. If you keep contributing at your current rate, the numbers warp into something you cannot conceptualize. The chart bends. The chart breaks. You stop running it because the chart stops being useful as a chart. Your career still matters. The relationships still matter. The work still matters. The number is not a substitute for any of those things. It is a quiet condition underneath all of them, like the foundation of a house you only think about when something goes wrong with it. You go home that night. You put your keys on the counter. You sit on the couch with a dip in the left cushion. You open the app one more time. $1,612. $600 added since dinner because the world's economy kept running while you ate Mediterranean food with two friends who don't know. You close the app. You don't text anyone. In 4 years, when you cross $2 million, you will also not text anyone. 8 years from now, when you cross $5 million, you will tell exactly one person, your future spouse, on a Sunday morning in a kitchen you bought together, and they will be the first human besides you to know the actual number. By then, the secret will have done its work. It will have protected the friendships, the family relationships, the way your mother looks at you when she sees you. It will have allowed you to grow the number without the number changing how you are seen. Somewhere right now, a 23-year-old is opening a brokerage account for the first time. They are transferring $400. They are scared that it is too little. They are wondering if the math is real or if it is something the internet invented to sell them a course. The math is real. The Tuesday is coming. Nobody will notice when it arrives. That is not a failure of the people in their life. That is the structure of the thing. The number is private by design. The work is invisible by necessity. The arrival is silent because silence is what made it possible. You turn off the light. You sleep the same as you slept on Monday. The account compounds while you sleep. The friends sleep too. The mother sleeps. The girlfriend sleeps. Nobody knows. The machine runs anyway.